Hello and welcome to the Calmcast, a time to feel calm and think clearly. I'm Claire Downham, the Queen of Calm, a transformational life coach. I was a burnt out head teacher who finally made the journey to calm after years of trying, and I want to prevent you from having to do the same. The Calmcast is a series of short explorations, gently guiding you back to your natural state, which is calm and clarity. Just listen like you would listen to music, with an open mind and curiosity. There's nothing else to do. Now let's relax into today's episode. So today's episode is called Blue Monday and Other Made-Up Concepts, and today is in fact known, at least in the UK, I suspect other places too, known as Blue Monday. And it is, I think it's the third Monday in January, which could land on all sorts of different dates, couldn't it, really, depending on when the 1st of January was. But it happens today to be the 16th of January. And I thought, wow, it's interesting, isn't it, that it's just kind of accepted. I know that I haven't been onto social media yet today, but I suspect when I do, I will find that there are lots of posts saying stuff about Blue Monday. But it's actually completely made up. The whole concept of it, the idea that we are supposed to be feeling low on this particular day. I feel fine, by the way. I hope you do too. But if you don't, you know where I am. Please do reach out and book a conversation or find some way to talk to me. So what is Blue Monday and where did it come from? You might be wondering. It was in fact created by a company called Sky Travel as part of a press release. I'm afraid that, as you will probably find out as I do this talk today, that a number of these made-up concepts that we believe to be, that we behave as if they're actually true, are made up by marketeers. They're the ones who create these ideas that are trying to get us to behave in a certain way. So Blue Monday's one of them, made up by Sky Travel. They used an equation, and I'm putting that in very huge inverted commas, that said that this was going to be the low mood day of the year. Blue Monday would be today, and the third Monday in January. I think they used things like your New Year's resolutions have no doubt failed, but you're probably better off not making any of them in the first place, because that's also made up, as I pointed to in a previous episode. And it's dark and cold and wet and pretty horrible. And we probably got our credit card statements from Christmas, or our bank balance is looking a bit tight this month, because often we get paid early, don't we, for Christmas, and then January then feels like a much longer month financially. So apparently you put all these things together and you get Blue Monday, and I'm feeling fine, as I already said, and I suspect you might be too, particularly, and this is the key, if you haven't bought into the story. If you have bought into the story that this is going to be a low mood day, then if you woke up this morning with even a glimmer of feeling a bit meh, you may have bought into, oh, that's because this is Blue Monday, that's why I'm not feeling okay. And it's so easy to get trapped in that story, because if you believe in something, your entire system is geared up to prove to you that that's true. And my jokey one that I often share is that if my fiance, if I thought my fiance was really rubbish emptying the bins would look full to me all the time. I wouldn't even notice them when they were empty, because it doesn't fit my belief system. And I read something the other day, I can't even remember where, on social media, somebody saying that they normally have a very, very clear morning routine. It's very rigid. It's very this, that, and the other. And they didn't do it. They didn't do the morning thing they normally do for themselves, and then proceeded to see all the ways in which they weren't functioning well enough in that day. And that's, that is confirmation bias. It will show us what fits with the belief. We believe that we have to have a certain routine in the morning, and otherwise we won't be okay. That's what we'll see. And I'm loving at the moment. I don't know. I totally used to believe that. Now I don't. So now I kind of play around with my morning routine. So the other morning, I just wasn't ready to get out of bed. So, I sat in bed with my laptop and did a bit of this and that. I think my fiance went out somewhere to work, and we often worked from home. It was out and about. Had a really slow start to the day, did a bit of my laptop, then I thought, I'm going to get up and do a bit of exercise now. Got up and did a bit of exercise. Just allowed the morning to kind of unfold, and it was fine because I don't have a story that I'm supposed to be a certain way. So Blue Monday is one of those things that that if we buy into the story of it, we can start to see it's true. And of course, you'll probably see some posts around on the internet today where people are saying, oh, I don't feel okay because it's Blue Monday, etc. And there are loads of other things just like that. There's I've spoken about this before. The 10,000 steps was made up by a marketing company wanting to sell a stepper. Completely made up, the whole thing, that you should walk 10,000 steps a day. 5 a day was made up by the Fruit and Veg Corporation, or Fruit and Veg Society of America, and a cancer charity, and bought into by the UK government, I understand, because the UK government decided that British people might actually eat 5 a day, and in fact only 20% of people do. So that was a bit of it didn't really work, did it? And what was the other one that's really interesting in a similar way? Oh, breakfast being the most important meal of the day was a marketing campaign. Sorry, marketers, it does appear to be you. I'm making up these things. But that was invented by the American Bacon Society. Breakfast the most important meal of the day, when you might eat bacon. And then adopted quite strongly by Kellogg's, who, they sell breakfast cereal, don't they? So really in their interest for us all to believe that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. But actually, when you look at all the studies on intermittent fasting and stuff like that, I haven't eaten breakfast for years, and I think my body does better without it. Nice gap between the times when I eat of at least 16 hours. So who knows whether that's true, but it seems to work for my body. So there's all these made up things, but it's only if we buy into them, first of all, that we'll have an experience of them in our lives. But also what's really, when I say other made up concepts, the Blue Monday one's a really great example of, if we believe something to be true, we will see it to be true. So the other made up concepts I want you to consider today are the ones that are made up inside you, that may be only your belief system, maybe only the things that you believe, but that there are a lot of them about, that you probably have an awful lot of them that are dictating how you relate to the world, are your own made up concepts. Now, what's really helpful, I think, to know about these made up concepts is that you didn't make them up. Your beliefs are not made up by you. They are unconsciously taught by the people around us and unconsciously learnt by us. They are the things people said to us, the information we got that we didn't understand. And this is where I have a lot of interest in this, having been a primary school head teacher, but this is where, be careful what you let your children watch and read and play on computer games and do on phones, because they're learning all the time. Then you can't stop that happening. And I do think our little people are being exposed to a lot of information these days that their little brains can't process. That it's become overcomplicated. It'll be really interesting, unfortunately, to see how it pans out in the future. But anyway, there's all this unconscious learning. So all those other made up concepts are not made up by you. They are not your concepts. They are just things that you have learned as you've gone through life. But they do form a belief system that you then wrap around everything and everyone that you ever come across. So that's helpful to know that that's going on. And this is all I'm ever pointing to, really, is it's helpful to know this is a system at play. When I'm talking about what we expose our children to, knowing that their little brains are learning all the time may have us consider, oh, maybe that's not something that my child needs to process right now in their lives when they're like 5 or whatever. And it's the same when we know that that's the system at play inside us. It just helps us to, well, when a thought appears and it looks very true and we're feeling an emotional response to something in the world, it has us just take it all with a pinch of salt. Like, that's what I would say is one of the main things I've seen around this, is that, your thinking isn't necessarily true. In fact, your thinking about things, your beliefs about things are old conditioned thinking that just happens to be inside your head, put there or absorbed there unconsciously by you. And when you have that, like, for me, the gauge is the emotional state that I'm in. If I'm in an uncomfortable emotional state, I know that I'm caught up in some really unhelpful thinking that's maybe has been there a really, really long time, hanging about in my head. It generally feels habitual. It generally has that taste of, oh, I've been here before, I've reacted like this before. And all that is just really helpful for us to navigate through when we're not feeling okay. Take our thinking at that moment with a pinch of salt, because I guarantee that when you're not feeling okay, your thinking isn't helpful at all. That the things you're thinking to do in the world are not helpful. Whereas when you wait, you still might say no to something or yes to something, but you will do it from a different place and you'll do it with a different type of response. So hopefully that's been helpful. There's made up concepts all about us in the world, but I think the ones that we mostly need to watch out for are the made up concepts that are inside our heads, the nonsense that is floating about inside us. So I hope you have an amazing day today, that you're not feeling the Blue Monday stuff, that you're feeling okay. But of course, you know where I am if you're not and you'd like to talk. So take care and lots of love.
Thank you so much for listening. There's nothing to do now but bring some awareness to how this is working out in your life. Listen regularly to experience longer and longer periods of calm. This has been the Calmcast with Claire Downham, Queen of Calm. Take care and keep listening.